Hi, I'm Stevie Fernandez.
And I'm Trish Whitmer. Welcome again, and thanks so much for joining us for this week's Explore Tulsa.
Trish, did you ever wonder what it was like in Tulsa during the oil boom and when all those Art Deco buildings were going up for the first time?
I do, and I always think of the ladies heading downtown to do their shopping in their 1920s and 30s fashion wear.
The 20s were some happening times, Trish. Radio broadcasts started, creating 5 national networks by the end of the decade.
Ooh, women got the right to vote.
And the Band-Aid and sliced bread were also invented. You'd have thought that those things were always around. Like, what did you do if you cut your finger? Did you just suck on it?
When it comes to downtown, the lady to know about Tulsa's rise to riches has to be Kelly Gibson of Tours of Tulsa.
Tulsa is rich with so much history. It's so fun to be a part of this city and to be able to tell these rich, rich stories. I believe it was my dad that initially put the love of Tulsa in my heart, both my mom and dad. But I was fortunate when I was young to be able to drive back and forth from Avant, Oklahoma, and my dad and I actually worked downtown Tulsa together. And my dad, as we were coming in from the north, he'd say, "Oh, Kelly, look at all those beautiful buildings." He said, "Kelly, just pick a building that you like, because they're all making money." So he put that love of Tulsa in my heart. In our Tulsa world, there used to be a supplement that was called Community Living, and it was about 9 years ago now. There was a lady by the name of Alice Freshly, who owned Bandana Tour Company. And this article was all about how she gave tours, and she started talking about the tunnels in downtown Tulsa. I had worked downtown most of my life, and I had no idea that we had tours in Tulsa, that we had tunnels that were worth going into and viewing. And so I called Miss Freshly, and I said, "Miss Freshly, you don't know me, I don't know you, but you have got to hire me. There's no one you're gonna find that loves Tulsa more than me." But it was at the end of 2013 that I was able to take over what then was Bandana Tour Company, and I dropped that bandana name and just kept Tours of Tulsa. The first people to Tulsa, of course, were the 5 civilized tribes. This was Indian territory, specifically the Creek Nation Indians. Then oil was found in 1901. So whomever was going to hold that title of oil capital of the world was going to have a way for all the people from around the world to get into the city. But what Tulsa already had in place from about 1898 or so were the railway system over on First Street. And so very quickly, many people were getting off of those trains to start becoming oil barons and start setting up. That was the roaring 20s, and everybody wanted to come to Tulsa. There were so many people in Tulsa. There were $65 million bankrolls coming out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so people from all around the world were here. In our downtown area is where the finest shops of all of Tulsa were in this area. And so the ladies every day, they were getting gussied up, jumping on the buses to come downtown Tulsa to shop. With all the people and with all the money in this city, it brought so many bad guys. Some of those bad guys, we're gonna talk about the Dalton gang. We're gonna talk about Pretty Boy Floyd. Machine Gun Kelly was one too, that had a house in Tulsa. He didn't live here, but he had this house in Tulsa to hide different things in the floorboards and underneath the window seals back in the Prohibition days. Each of our tours are private tours, and most of our tours are going to be custom tours. But as we are customizing the tour, we do the 1-hour walking tunnel tour. But many times an individual will say, "But we want to go longer than an hour." We will go as long as the individual is interested. There are many times that there are certain points of focus that a group is really interested in, and we want to make our tour really customized around what that group's main goal for coming to us in the first place might be. I hope by the end of each tour that every single person has a newfound sense of pride for living or coming to this beautiful city of Tulsa.